Welcome to sewing class. This is Annette Julie, and today we're working on our hem sample, and we are correcting the leg opening. Please watch part 1 and 2. We are on part 3. So we've corrected the leg opening down here for the pant. We brought that stitch out. Then here for the top portion with the skirt where this one's angling out a bit more, we have brought that in and brought that in. So when we're to fold the hem up now, up on top of itself, there's enough room that nothing's going to make a pucker. And that's the whole idea. That's that pant hem. And the same with the skirt hem. Normally there'd be too much here at the side. And we turn it up, it matches evenly. So we do have that 1 whole inch to work with, but it would be advisable for you to draw some of your lines. So we're going to draw our seam allowance and hem allowance. At the bottom here, you can mark this up 1/2 inch. And then again, 1/2 inch. At the top, gonna mark up 1/2. And then again, 1/2 inch. Now, let's go ahead and let's call one of these our side seam and one of these our inseam, okay? So I'm going to call this one my side seam, and this one over here my inseam. And now we're going to work on pressing those hems up. Drawing that line so I can use it to fold and press up to. And I only drew it on one side. You can go ahead and draw it on the other side as well, and I might do that when I get there. Or I might just eyeball it and use my ruler. So I'm pressing this up to the line that I drew. Then when I come to the side seam and the inseam, I actually need to press those seam allowances open. I normally have a sleeve board, but I do not see that around, so I'm going to put the seam over to the side and press this open. Okay, let me get the other seam allowance. These are both our inseam and our side seam. We're going to take that seam allowance and we're going to press it open. If you have a sleeve board or a pressing ham at home, feel free to use that. Okay, we press both of those seam allowances open, and when I'm pressing them, I'm not trying to press them directly on top of each other. I'm trying to give a little bit of room. Let me press that open a little bit better. That looks good. So that I'm not pressing the hem underneath, or excuse me, the side seam underneath at the same time I've moved that over. Now I can continue with my 1/2 inch pressing up of my bottom hem. Come over here on the other side, let me press this up. And quite often with sewing, all of your preparation, the cutting, the pressing, all of that is very important. It's just as important as the actual sewing itself. So many mistakes can be made in the cutting and the pressing and the layout. So be patient and spend time on the small details. So we're up 1/2 inch. Like I said, I didn't mark the back, but feel free to if you would like. Let's go ahead and press up another 1/2 inch. And I can see my line through to the muslin. Pressing up my 1/2. Moving around to the side seams and the inseams, continuing to press up 1/2 inch. And this would be really easy with a sleeve board. So if you guys have a sleeve board at home, please use it. So what that allows is for us to not be pressing the other side at the same time. But we'll deal with it this way, because a lot of you I know do not have a sleeve board at home. So that's okay. You can do it without a sleeve board. Look, I'm managing, no problem. Working on our hem. I'm going to go back to the side seam and inseam. I'm going to pull this down a little bit so it's not pressing the piece underneath. And I have lots of lines to mark my pressing, but you always want to make sure what's going on and that you haven't started pressing more, and take that little ruler on there and check the hem. Let me go over and press the other side, and when I'm working with this, the hem seam and the side seam should match. That looks great. We've pressed up that hem for the skirt. Now we're going to work on the hem for the pant. So we'll start with our lines we've already drawn, and we're going to go ahead and press up. You can match it to the second line. You can give it a nice little finger press. Going to come to the side seam. I'm going to press that up a little bit with my fingers too. Now I'm going to get my iron on it once I've done a little finger pressing. And we're just pressing up the first 1/2 inch. Then we go and we press up a second 1/2 inch. And we're going to do an edge stitch. And we're going to call that finish a clean finish hem, because we won't see any raw edges on the hem once we're done sewing it. We will see a raw edge over here on the side seam, but if you're sewing a pant at home, that's got a nice finish on it. Okay, we've pressed up the first 1/2 inch. Now we're going to press up our second 1/2 inch, and if I turn this, I can see that line in there that I drew, and I'm going to press it right on that line. Little finger press. Let's get that iron on there. I'm going to turn a little bit. I'm going to press up here at the side seam. Press up our back. And when you're doing your pressing, you especially with your cotton fabric and synthetics, I have this at a high temperature, but don't just leave the iron on the fabric for any kind of extended period of time. It can make your fabric crispy. Okay, it can sort of cook it and bake it and turn it a yellow color and stuff like that. So we don't want to burn the fabric. That can happen with many different types of fabric. Cotton, which we're working with now, which is natural fiber, as well as synthetics. Okay, so we've successfully turned up both of our hems. Press those up. Now we're ready to do a little edge stitch right on the edge in a circle all the way around. This is the end of part 3, and I'm going to see you in the next video. This is Annette Julie.